Hey guys, it's your tech girl Mary and welcome back to our YouTube channel. For today, sa wakas, magagawa na natin yung review ng ating Oppo Reno8 5G. To those people who are not yet buying and can't decide yet, sana after this video, makatulong talaga to sa inyo. If you guys are seeing their social media post, yung kanilang mga bagong Reno phones are marketed as portrait expert. So yes, kind of a big word. So mamaya sa ating camera review, let's find out if it is really true or not. Okay, so let's start with our very quick unboxing and of course, price and availability. As you can see, yung packaging nila is pretty the same. It's all blue with the Oppo Reno8 5G branding in front. This device retails for 27,999 pesos dito sa atin sa Philippines. And isa lamang yung available variant that we have, which is the 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Okay, so since Oppo really takes so much pride sa pagmamarket ng cameras ng kanilang Oppo Reno8 5G, we will start with that. As you can see, yung ating pinaka-camera setup is somehow similar to their Find X series. Ito yung kanilang flagship lineup. May pagka-unibody yung design niya, kaya naman every time we put it in a flat surface, hindi siya masyadong maingay or nagwo-wobble. Anyway, we got here a 50 megapixels primary camera that uses a Sony IMX766 sensor, which can be seen sa mga, of course, competitors niya rin as well, like the smartphone that we previously reviewed, the Nothing Phone 1. So yes, mamaya papakita ko rin sa inyo yung mga konting comparisons silang dalawa kung sino ba yung medyo mas nagpe-perform well. Meron din tayong 8 megapixels ultra-wide angle lens and of course a 2 megapixels macro camera. Sa mga curious, the camera setup is still somehow familiar doon sa kanyang Pro version. Except of course, we are getting 12 megapixels ultra-wide camera on that phone compared to this one na 8 megapixels only. Okay, so as what Oppo calls this phone portrait expert, in fairness naman, this Oppo Reno8 5G delivers decent details and good edge detection. Okay din yung mga portrait shots natin at night. And for me, natural naman yung blur ng ating mga background. But then again, we can always adjust it on the camera settings. Marami-rami din yung ating mga portrait filters na pwedeng pagpilian. Katulad ng AI color portrait, Bokeh Flare Portrait, Natural, Sweet, Delight, and many more. Now, for the 50 megapixels photos, in fairness, photos taken during daytime, guys, are very consistent and okay naman yung kanyang dynamic range. Maganda rin yung kanyang contrast and fairly neutral. Good thing the 50 megapixels option is located on the uppermost part of the device, which is very visible and madali nating matatandaan na gamitin itong option na to when taking photos. Meron din itong HDR mode sa ating more menu that tends to boost the greens slightly. Now, when it comes to the selfies, meron tayong 32 megapixel Sony IMX709 sensor, and the detailed and good overall naman with natural colors yung mga photos natin. Enabled by default na yung beauty mode natin, pero pwede naman natin itong i-switch off sa ating camera app. Even nga yung ating mga selfie portraits are detailed and in low light, guys, the phone will automatically enable the screen flash na nakatulong naman talaga to get brighter images. Now, let's talk about the ultra-wide shots by the Oppo Reno8 5G. Honestly, some of these photos ay magaganda naman talaga. But then, if we were to compare it to its main camera, medyo naging softer lang at mas naging lacking when it comes to colors. Now, when it comes to the videos shot by the Oppo Reno8 5G, it goes up to 4K at 30 FPS. And yung mga footages natin recorded by this device had decent stabilization naman at 1080p. Buti na lang, guys, mayroong OIS yung ating main camera. And then when shooting in 4K resolution naman, nandito medyo shaky na lang talaga. Kaya kapag ganito kataas yung ating resolution, I suggest you use a tripod. Now, let's talk about the design. Until now, Reno smartphones of Oppo is still an eye candy. Yun nga lang hindi nyo lang siya masyadong makita since I got the black colorway. Pero kung gusto nyo yung medyo may pagka-gold yung kulay, then you might wanna opt for the shimmer gold option. Katulad ng mention ko kanina, yung unibody design nitong Oppo Reno8 5G is a first sa kanilang Reno series. Again, ito nga ay naka-reserved lang sa kanilang mga flagship devices. Kaya naman laking gulat ko nung nakita ko for the very first time yung ganitong klase ng design sa kanilang mga Reno smartphones. The phone also measures 7.67mm thickness and weighs at 179 grams. The weight feels well-balanced naman and the phone can be used one-handed, which is good. The volume buttons is positioned on the left part of the phone, which is what I really prefer. Clicky naman sila at hindi mahirap every time that I need to screenshot. There is also a secondary mic on top and yung ating SIM tray, USB-C port, speaker, and the primary mic is located below. Sadly, this phone is not expandable via micro SD card and isa lang din yung variant nga na storage na pwede nating pagpilian, which is a 256 gig. To some, it may be enough. To some, this can be lacking. So you might want to take note of this before getting one. Now, one of the most important things that I consider, guys, before getting a new smartphone is if it has a good display at kung nag-upgrade ba siya doon sa kanyang predecessor. Most of the time kasi, display doesn't really get upgraded that much. Usually, it takes 2 to 3 years bago nila ito dagdagan or palitan ng additional feature. You'll be glad to know na itong Oppo Reno8 5G has a 6.4 inches Full HD Plus display and has a 90Hz refresh rate. The bezels are fairly thin naman, guys, pero of course, exception yung kanyang chin. Sadly, we're not getting even bezels dito, guys, katulad ng nakita nyo sa Pro version ng device na to. This phone used a Corning Gorilla Glass 5 over the display for protection, which is good. And as expected from an AMOLED panel, it has good contrast naman. It may not have the brightest screen out there for its price, but definitely still good for indoor and outdoor use. Kanina sa phone tour natin, I did mention na isa lamang yung kanyang speaker na located sa pinakailalim. For its price, kinda sad that we are not getting a stereo speaker setup. Mas makakatulong ito sa overall viewing experience natin, pero loud enough naman kahit papano yung ating single speaker so far. By the way, just like any mid-range devices right now, yung ating RAM dito sa Oppo Reno8 5G has the expansion option. So yes, we can expand it up to 5 gig. My only concern lang talaga is for those few people na hindi into non-expandable storage smartphones. But aside from this, it has a MediaTek Dimensity 1300 SoC. Now, if we were to compare it to Snapdragon chipsets, counterpart nito yung Snapdragon 778G Plus SoC. Honestly, performance-wise, mas nagustuhan ko yung meron tayo dito sa Oppo Reno8 5G. Ginamit namin to for over 2 weeks already and yung device really performed well. Walang problema when it comes to switching between applications and even pag-scroll through its user interface. It can definitely also game. We played the Genshin Impact on this device and we played it at 30 FPS. The device did not show any signs of distress. In fairness naman, it was able to provide the stable experience sa highest settings niya. When it comes to user experience naman, guys, napansin ko, Oppo really did evolve a lot. We can practically change the entire UI with so many customization options. Now, when it comes to its real-world scenario, when it comes to its battery life, the Oppo Reno8 5G packs a 4,500 mAh. And for me, since hindi ako masyadong heavy user, I was able to pull off 2 days on a single charge, which is not bad for a phone under 5,000 mAh. Now, Oppo also included an 80-watt SuperVOOC charger inside the box. Nakakuha tayo ng 100% of a battery charge in just around 28 minutes. The device doesn't also overheat while charging, but then again, if you will use it while charging, of course, you will not get the same minutes that I had with this device charging. Sa totoo lang, if I were to give my overall verdict on their new mid-range device, it performs well and can definitely compete with its competitors. And just like how they marketed this device, indeed okay at sobrang reliable ng ganyang camera performance. Siguro my only gripe on this device is, ayun nga, it doesn't have an expandable storage, the chin bezel is pretty thick, and medyo marami lang din siyang bloatware sa kanyang software. Overall, if you don't mind those cons na kaka-mention lang natin, and you really are a fan of the Reno series, lalo na if every year nyong inaabangan yung kanilang bagong smartphone, overall, it is an attractive and a very capable smartphone. And in all honesty, the phone feel more expensive than it actually is. Anyway, all the links on where you can purchase this smartphone will be linked in the description box below. That's pretty much it. Sana worth it ang pag-aantay nyo. Again, it's your tech girl, Mary, and see you in our next video. Bye, guys!